I'm sorry to say, but in today's commercial world, there's just no room for another white baby actor. There's an influx already.
White babies don't sell.
White babies just aren't selling right now.
Question, who is selling, Brenda?
Well, the Latino market is the fastest growing demographic in the country.
Great, so Mexicans are selling.
Oh, well, DB can play Mexican.
Yeah, DB could definitely be a Mexican. Well, we get him some pistols. He fires them off like crazy. He do the jumping thing. Do the jump. He does a Mexican jumping bean.
If you are white and you are having babies, I'm sorry, you're racist. That's just the way it's got to be, at least according to The View. The View's Alyssa Farah Griffin and Sunny Hostin brawl over whether Trump's baby bonus plan is racially motivated. They say that Trump is a white supremacist and a racist because now he thinks we have a fertility problem. Well, we do. And the big story here is actually that Trump is floating a plan to increase fertility rates, including $5,000 for a baby bonus as births drop to record lows. Another proposal would reserve around 30% of the Fulbright scholarship program to people who are married or have children. Now, Matt Walsh tweeted something out, and I agree. He said that if you are married and have kids, no taxes, and we should increase taxes on single women and single men and women to cover up the difference, to make up the difference. I agree. More so, I agree that I don't know that we need to raise taxes on anybody, but if you are married and have children, maybe it should be if you have 2 kids at least. If you are married with 2 children, you are tax exempt or like reduced tax, something like this. And if you divorce, you lose the benefits, even if you have kids. So you got to stay married. You got to stay with your kids. Now, I know people are going to say, Tim, there will be unforeseen consequences. You are correct. There always are. And we don't know how these things will manifest. So the idea is there, but the execution will require top men. Okay, top minds, women, you're allowed as well. But the idea being, when you create a perverse incentive, it may backfire on you. But anyway, Donald Trump has his plan, and it's racist. Listen to this: having babies is racist.
I want to reframe the issue a little bit, because when I look at something like this, these proposals, I want to know why. And I want to know who's making them. And so when I looked into that, they're saying that the U.S. birth rate is declining. However, in 2024, there was a 1% increase in U.S. births. But that increase was with Hispanic mothers and Asian mothers. So they don't seem to be concerned about that increase. They seem to be more concerned about a decrease in other populations.
Say it.
No, I think I've said enough.
It's not based on that.
And so, well, it's just based on a study. And so the other thing
But have they said that anywhere? I mean, I feel like it to be fair.
It's just
Fair to who?
It's just a.
Have they said that this is to target only white families?
Oh, I didn't say that.
You have to read between the lines.
I just gave the stats.
They're not going to say it.
About economics. They're wanting people to pay in.
I'm just giving facts.
I'm just giving facts. We have to read between the lines. The View's Alyssa Farah Griffin questioned her co-host Sunny Hostin, slyly suggesting that racism was a motivating factor behind Trump's plan to offer financial assistance to new mothers. The administration is currently mulling a plan that would award $5,000 to new mothers in an effort to increase birth rates. Well, to families, not to mothers. Trump, I'm telling you right now, nobody wants women to be paid $5,000 by the government to have babies, because you're going to have a lot of childless kids. I'm sorry, a lot of, what, childless? Fatherless kids. There's another idea that has been floated is a government program that would educate women about menstrual cycles so that they understand the best timing for conception of a child. This comes as the birth rate in the U.S. has recently hit historic lows. According to the CDC, general fertility rate in the U.S. decreased by 3% from 2022, reaching a historic low. The birth rate for women ages 20 to 24 hit a historic low in the U.S. CNN reported that between 2016 and 2023, the fertility rate dropped by 12%. There have not been any proposals set in stone to reverse the falling fertility rate, the Times reported. However, with some of the administration now in the position to advance the baby boom that President Donald Trump has called for, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, a practicing Catholic who has 9 children. Whoa! Duffy, you got 9 kids? Wow. We didn't talk about that in our interview. He has 9 children, has given priority to build infrastructure in areas of the country with higher birth rates. Bravo, dude. Vice President J.D. Vance has advocated for Americans to get married and have more children as well. Yes, we all are. And if you're a liberal, please don't. Anyway, quote, I just think this administration is inherently pro-natalist, Simone Collins, an activist looking to increase the birth rate in America, said. Look at the number of kids that major leaders in the administration have. You didn't hear about kids in the same way under Biden. Elon Musk, a prominent advisor to Trump, has repeatedly encouraged Americans to have more children and has warned that the falling birth rate will become a large-scale crisis in coming years. Yes. Here's what I'm going to tell you. I don't believe that Trump, Elon, and others are racist or trying to boost white people. I think it's actually Sunny Hostin. I'm sorry. Is Alyssa Farah Griffin? I don't know. Who is this? Which lady is this? Alyssa Farah Griffin, slyly motivated. Is that her? Okay. Anyway, whichever one it is. Here's what I think. They are racist against white people. And so they want to make this a racial issue to discourage white people from having kids. They like it that only minorities are having kids. I think Elon Musk is looking at this from a specialist job perspective. If you are running a tech company, you know that population growth is how science advances principally. Let me break it down for you. How many of you can make a toaster from scratch? If I said right now, I'll give you $20,000 if you can make me a toaster, and I want a good quality one. I want a toaster for my Pop-Tarts that's going to last me a year or two or longer. I don't know. How long does a toaster last? It can't be done. It maybe could take you a few years, but there was a famous TED Talk where a man said, I wanted to build a toaster from scratch, and he found impossible. Why? Plastic. He could not make plastic by himself. It was not possible. He got to the point where he had the electrical wiring. He made the wires. He coated them. He did everything. He could smelt the copper and make the copper lines, and he could make the metal, and he couldn't make the plastic. So what did he do? He mined it. He basically went to a dump, scooped up a bunch of old plastic, and then melted it down to make the casing for a toaster. Theoretically, he could have made a metal toaster with a metal casing. It worked for about 30 seconds and then broke. Now, I'm sure there are specialists out there that could create some kind of functional toaster for sure, but I'm saying factory quality, Best Buy out the box, high end, give me a good functioning toaster with all the fixins, and it couldn't be done. The point I'm making is, while you could dedicate your time, and someone probably could do it if they really put their mind to it, maybe. Technology requires specialists. So think about like these this microphone, for instance. The person who made the metals is not anywhere near the person who got the magnets. The person who made the plastic arm and the metal for it and designed it. All of these come from different people, and they're good at one thing. Let me tell you, we've got the Booney Skate Park currently being remodeled. And y'all may be saying, who cares? But you're right. Who cares, right? It's a specialist product for very few people. I care, and I get to have a skate park because there are people whose job it is to literally design skate parks. When population declines, the capabilities of these jobs ceases. So let me put it this way. When you had, for those of you that watch every video, you know the story, but most people don't. So bear with me. Michigan has a fixed cost water infrastructure, but people are fleeing the state because there's no jobs. This means that the cost for water for each individual is increasing every time a person leaves. You need 1 million people all putting in $1 to fund a water infrastructure system for a big city. But if 90% leave, now it's going to cost $10 a person, and they're going to be like, that's too expensive. I don't want it. Same thing for science and technology. Now, of course, we need people to run businesses. We need people for humanity to be. Like, if no people are born, we're just extinct. But for Elon and for Trump, you need people to be born so they can work and generate tax revenue to sustain the government. And that's a surface level thing because honestly, with no people, there's no government at all anyway. But Elon's thinking, how can I get someone trained specifically in, quantum entanglement? I'm not talking about someone who's all physics and they learn everything. No. Someone whose job is literally just a quantum entanglement mechanic. And they come in and their job is literally just to align the entangled particles for interstellar communications. The point is this. We've got electronics repairs people people come out, fix your phone line. Guy comes in, installs your cable. Do you think that dude who installs your cable to give you access to all of the information, let's say cable internet, the guy who installs your internet, do you think he understands the science behind how all of it works? No. It's more engineering. It's more mechanical. But that specialty exists only when you have a large population that can sustain such specialties. To make a computer, you need people who are going to take the the silicon wafers or whatever, melt it down. Like, it is crazy how they make processors. And you need a ton of people to do it. The smaller your population gets, the less jobs there are. You get down to 10 people and it's going to be like, listen, nothing matters. We need water. We need food. And that's all anyone will do. There will be no science officer. I mean, like maybe, but what can they really do by themselves? But when you have millions of people and you can say, for every one farmer, we produce enough food for 25 people, that's an exponential buffer, meaning 1 million people can sustain 25 million. Then we have all of those 25 million. They are able to now do specialty jobs. But let's shrink it all the way down. You've got one farmer and he can produce enough food for 25 people. What can those 25 people do? I mean, chopping wood, going to be taking care of animals, going to be providing security. You don't have that many people to do things like build computers. Isn't that crazy if you think about it? You get one guy, I don't know if the 1 to 25 is a real ratio, but you get one guy and he's like, I'm going to make a bunch of food for everybody. To be honest, you need like 3 or 4 and then they can maybe feed like 10 to 15 people. And then what are those other people going to be doing? Building shelter while the other people are farming, maybe fishing to add to the food supply, foraging, scouting, providing guard services, but you're not going to have enough people to build computers. But what if it was 3 million people, 25 million to work on whatever you want? That's the point. The reason I think they're saying it's racist is because they want the white population to decline. I think Trump, Elon, and the rest just want general population. But I'll wrap it up there, man. We got more segments coming up for you throughout the day. So smash that like button, share the show with everyone you know. Stay tuned. More to come. Follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast, and we'll see y'all then.